Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, people who get food to our tables, tend to us when we're sick, teach our children, and many others beg for protection from this virus. Too often, their pleas went unanswered by employers and governmental agencies that should have been keeping them safe. If that wasn't bad enough, a lot of politicians and lobbyists actually want to shield employers from legal responsibility for putting people in harm's way. Outrageous? Yeah. Immoral, to be sure, but it's also nothing new. If you're trying to understand how we got here, a fire in the North Carolina town of Hamlet has some answers. It was another event, like COVID-19, which pierced shadows created to hide the dangers people face simply by going to work. I'm Patrick McHugh with the North Carolina Budget and Tax Center. Please join us as historian Bryant Simon tells the story of the Hamlet Fire, a tragedy which reveals the pre-existing conditions that made COVID-19 so deadly and shows how much work remains to protect working people.
The Hamlet Fire is really about a kind of awful bargain in American life, about how some people have to risk their lives just to make a living, and it's not even a living, and how those people so often live in the shadows, and that's not by accident, right? In many ways, profit is derived by hiding things. So with that, just kind of thinking about that, because I think that can bring us back to COVID in a really kind of effective way. The story of the Hamlet Fire, or at least the immediate story of the Hamlet Fire, is the day after Labor Day on September 3rd, 1991, in a factory in Hamlet, which is a small town of about 5,000 people on the North Carolina, South Carolina border, about 2 hours east of Charlotte and 2 hours south of Raleigh. A small factory that made chicken tenders for places like Shoney's, Long John Silver's, and Red Lobster blew up. And why it blew up is, really about a kind of broader change in American life that I explore in the book I wrote about it. But the kind of immediate thing that happened was, and I think it's revealing of like the larger problem, is there was a problem in the factory, a hydraulic line that wasn't working the right way. The most mundane and ordinary problem that happens in a factory. And so the repair people went to fix it, and they didn't have the right part because the right part was too far away and too expensive and would have shut down the line for too long, leaving workers standing there not sort of generating product and profit for the owner. And so they fixed the hydraulic line with what they had, which were the wrong parts. Had done it before. No one thought too much of it. They attached the hydraulic line, they turned it back on, and it became uncoupled. And it spewed highly flammable liquid all over the place, including, again, mundane stuff, right? Under the, towards the burners that were lighting a huge fryer that cooked the chicken tenders. Those burners weren't covered. They should have been by any kind of fire safety regulation, but they weren't. Nobody cared, right? And so what happened was it just created this explosion, basically. And then that's what it was. It was an explosion that blew a hole in the roof of this little one-story factory. And the workers who were in front of the plant, they were able to escape out the front. But the workers who worked in the back, they ran to the back exits. They didn't really know where to go because the plant had never had a fire safety drill. And they ran to doors that were locked. They were locked in some cases from the outside, double bolted in one case. One door, which was an exit door, only opened to the inside. So workers tried to sort of smash it down, and they didn't know that it opened the wrong way, which was, again, a fire safety violation. And some workers, again, trapped at those locked doors, tried to find safety and refuge in a cooler. Thinking that the cooler where the frozen chicken tenders would save them from the flames. In a kind of brutal irony, that was a door that didn't work. And poisonous carbon monoxide gases leaked into that cooler and killed 12 people there. By the time the fire was over, and again, this was, it was preventable in almost every way imaginable. Not the fire itself, which we can talk about, but the aftermath of it. 25 people were dead.